Hey, if you spent the weekend being very frustrated by the way that the news was covering Joe Biden and Donald Trump, will you allow me a few minutes to take a crack at it? Because I also spent the weekend being very, very frustrated by the way that Joe Biden was being covered compared to the almost lack of coverage for Trump and Project 2025 and all that kind of stuff. So if you've got a couple minutes, let this video play. Pour yourself a glass of water. When's the last time you had water? Take a few deep breaths, and we're going to get through this together. So here's where things stand right now for Monday, July 8th. National Blueberry Day. Now I want a cobbler. And now the news. Twist! This here's a special episode. Now, if you're a subscriber to the show, you should have 2 episodes on the feed. This one, as well as a classic news episode. If you haven't subscribed to the show, and who even cares about hurt feelings? Also, please subscribe. It's free. And finally, there are 2 episodes today. But let's get into the special episode. If you were lucky enough to have not spent the better part of last week, as well as all weekend, manically refreshing Twitter like it was 2016 or 2020 all over again, first of all, what's that like? And also, you may have missed some stuff. So this episode is going to cover Trump and Biden news in a way that I wish it was being reported, just like by mainstream media. I wish this is how it was being reported. So let's get into it. First, the Biden stuff. As you may recall, the first presidential debate happened about a week and a half ago. Trump lied the entire time, just nonstop lies when you could actually get him to answer the question. He also refused to accept the election results. So classic and classically dangerous. Biden also had a bad night. Now, content-wise, Trump's performance was abhorrent. Optics-wise, Biden's performance was abysmal. Now, that opened up a pretty serious question about whether or not Biden should stay in the race, because we're not just fighting against another political party, we are fighting for our democracy here. This is serious. This is as serious as it has been in decades. Now, since then, and thanks to the media framing it, as well as the very real threat of Trump, an open and currently very loud question is being asked. Should President Biden continue running for office? Now, I don't mean to blow your mind about how aging works here, but, and I'm like no scientist, but when you hear me tell you this, you're going to think I'm a scientist, basically. Both Biden and Trump, they both old. They've both been old for as long, they've both been old. That's not news. That's how aging works. That has not been news until it became news. And then it was all over the news and sort of looked like this past weekend it was the only news available, which was not true. In the other episode that's out today, which is just like more of the regular news show, all of that news, none of it was as big as the news about Biden. The president had an interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos on Friday, where he said, as he has maintained, that he is absolutely going to continue running for office. Now, that interview didn't do what it needed to do, and in fact, now, talk about him dropping out of the race is almost louder than it was before. But this is a very serious part of the conversation. Biden had a bad debate, and now suddenly we're having a serious conversation about whether or not he should continue to run for office. In all, the Democrats are fairly split on what should happen here. The threat of Donald Trump is much larger than a simple shift in party power. This is a 5-alarm fire for the future of our democracy. This is fighting against a fascist. After a meeting with Democratic governors on Wednesday, folks like Governor Newsom pledged unwavering support for the president. However, on Sunday, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries met with top committee lawmakers in the House, and several of those big players, talking about reps like Jerry Nadler, Jim Himes, and Mark Takano, all said that Biden should drop out of the race. So that is where we're at right now. Who knows what is actually going to happen? The Democratic convention is at the end of August, and so there's not a ton of time here. But yeah, that's what's going on right now in the news as far as the Biden stuff. Just an open conversation about whether or not he should continue to run for office and who would take his place as the nominee if that were to happen. It is not an easy conversation. A lot of the dialogue happening online is, you're going to be shocked to hear this, not super respectful. I know, but Kim, the internet, I know it's always really respectful, but somehow this one squeaked by. But yeah, it's a serious conversation. Here's what I will commit to you. I thought it was important to tell you about what had happened, what this conversation was about Biden, because it's in the ether. You should know. But that is a story that is certainly a story, but has been made more of a story just from major news outlets covering it, and then it kind of snowballed into where we're at right now with serious House members and governors all having different sides of this conversation. It's a real conversation, but right now it's like very shiny. When we know more, we will know more. But my commitment to you is that here on this show, you will not get theory and possibility. You will know the news when it happens, and I will not conflate news and gossip. Because yes, it is news if the president drops out of the race. Right now, though, it's currently just a distraction. In fact, while the major outlets were covering that shiny distraction, let me tell you about a few things that you may have missed on the Trump camp. First, on Saturday, Judge Eileen Cannon postponed some of those classified documents crimes case deadlines in order to allow prosecutors time to respond to Trump's request for like a big old pause in the case after the Supreme Court ruled that Trump can do anything he wants as long as the vibes are that it's an official act. That absolutely bonkers and infuriating ruling has already seen Trump get a delay of sentencing in his felony case from the time that, as a candidate, he hid information from you, the voter, so that you would not have all the information that you needed to cast a ballot in 2016. And now he is using that same ruling to say that after he was no longer president and was literally leaving office, it was okay to just take some of our most classified secrets because, well, you know what a reader he is. That is a crime he did as a candidate and a crime he did as he was literally moving out of the West Wing. Both of those things have enough of a possibility, vague as it may be, of being tossed out that his cases are being delayed, thanks to that Supreme Court ruling based on a court that he got to put 3 justices on. I wonder what would happen if he were to be allowed back in office and felt like he was actually able to do more crimes. Probably nothing good. Doesn't sound like a great idea. So anyway, more delay on the classified documents case. Also, more information on the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 came out. If you have not heard of Project 2025, it is the roadmap for a second Trump term that includes things like reversing the FDA approval of the abortion pill, as well as invoking the Comstock Act to ban the shipment of the abortion pill and compelling states to report the reason for every abortion in their state. It would also have us withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord, gut clean energy programs, reestablish marriage as being between a man and a woman as being like the ideal situation, withdraw anti-discrimination for our youth in schools while also expelling transgender service members from the military, stop governmental support for international groups that promote LGBTQ plus equality, fire thousands of nonpartisan government workers, privatize Medicare, allow ICE to raid schools and churches, and end no-fault divorce, amongst its almost 900 pages of horror. Oh, and also, it would also allow Trump to use the military on private citizens. So that's what he thinks he wants to do. Now, Trump did do his little social media thing about Project 2025 and say that he knows nothing about it, has no idea who's behind it, but he did add, quote, I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. So first thing, anything they do, I wish them luck. I have nothing to do with them. You don't have to wish anybody luck. Like, you don't have to wish everybody luck. You're wishing them luck to wish them luck. Calling something abysmal does not cancel out that you wished them luck. You don't hear me out there wishing the Cybertruck luck, even though I think they're absurd. When I don't like something, I either just completely ignore it or become so absolutely annoying in my bullying of it that nobody brings it up around me. That's why none of my friends drive a Cybertruck or bring up, even as a joke, Ted Cruz. Because then I will spend the rest of my time absolutely roasting a beard that tells me that Ted Cruz may be a Republican, but his beard is voting for whoever the Democratic nominee is. That beard has one job when it wakes up in the morning. That's to make Ted Cruz look like a doofus. Also, he has a lot more than the nothing he says that he has to do with them. The head of the Project 2025 is Paul Dans. Paul Dans was the chief of staff at the Office of Personnel Management during Trump's administration. Ben Carson contributed to it, as did former Deputy Chief of Staff Rick Dearborn and one of his closest aides, John McEntee. Dude, Trump knows about it. I don't know what you want me to say here. He knows about it. These are the facts. Perhaps the reason that he wants to get a little distance is because, first, it's terrible. But it has been around for a while, and he likely thought that he could get through the election without it getting too much attention. But the more salient reason likely came on July 3rd, when Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts went on Steve Bannon's podcast and said this chilling sentence, quote, "We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be." Remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. Separating Trump from Project 2025 is impossible. There can be no pretending otherwise. So that's where things are right now. Biden is old. He may or may not be the presidential nominee in the end, but he is right now. Trump is also old. Additionally, worse, actually, hear me out, this one's worse, is that he's super into fascism. For some reason, the Biden thing got more attention over the weekend. But don't worry, I'm back now. So for the 10 of you that are listening to this, here on this show, being old and being a fascist will not be covered as if they're the same thing. And that's it. That's the news. I'm proud of Kelly Clarkson. She is not connected to any story in this episode at all, but I need something good. I need something to be good right now. And you know what? That's Kelly Clarkson. But oh no. See, now I'm in a pickle of my own pickling because I can't say more than Kelly Clarkson. More than blueberries. Because some blueberries are great and some are mushy. But that is never the case with you. You're all great. You're zero mush. I'm proud of you.